Hi, this week we take a look at the new reverb from Cherry Audio. It is called Galactic, and this is what it looks like. I'm currently in demo mode, so there will be a little bit of white noise occasionally. That shouldn't be too much of an issue though. Essentially, Galactic is a atmospheric reverb specializing in huge spaces. Think of it essentially as the other famous reverb from Eventide, which starts with B and ends with black hole. That's essentially what I found it as to be the closest comparison so far. First impressions are, initially upon loading, I really don't like this GUI. I find it horrendous, if I'm honest. Luckily, we can change it to a solid panel, which is much better. So I prefer to leave it like that. Also, the other thing that I didn't like upon testing is there isn't, as far as I can tell anyway, I could be wrong, there is no way to lock the mix level. So every time you flick through a preset, this changes. And that's really quite a pain for auditioning presets. However, I do have a little bit of a trick for that. If you go to any DAW, will do this. Go to your inserts, select the reverb, choose the wet and dry mix, and then move that up to where you want it. So let's put it at 50. And when you flick through presets, it always stays at mix 50%, or whatever you set it at. So it's not a disaster, but I just prefer to have it. And even when you change it, like even when you manually adjust it, it will automatically flick back to 50. So with my gripes out the way, let's get started and let's test it. Just so you know what I'm working on, I will mute the reverb for a sec and solo the channel. This is the sound that I have at the moment. Very familiar forest sound. Currently it's going to the reverb I mentioned before. Let's mute that. And this is how it sounds with no reverb. There's just some delay on there. So let's listen to that in context with the kick and bass and the rest of the track. So I want to, as you saw, I took off the previous reverb, and now I want to see if Galactic can do its magic on this. So before I go into any detail, let's have a look what we have on the interface. So modulation rate and depth, it's quite straightforward. Damping is quite straightforward. Pre-delay and decay time, unfortunately I don't see in beats. I just see milliseconds, which is fine. That's not the end of the world, that's fine. As you can see though, it is huge. What does it go up to? 35 seconds. It's a dream for an ambient track. And then because the decay time is so long, it will obviously muddy up the mix. So inbuilt is a ducking control. You have an attenuation level or percentage, and then just like with a compressor or any kind of ducking, you have the recovery time of when it will duck out the way and how quickly it gets back to full volume. And then as per most EQs, as per most reverbs, there's the low and high shelves. Then we have mix, which we discussed earlier, and then output. So let's go through some of the presets and hear how they sound. It does definitely specialize in those long, drenched reverbs. So let's move the mix up to about 70%. So as you can see, when the next sound or the next pluck comes in, you can see the ducking meter activate. So it's not drenching the reverb at that time, it comes back after the decay of the sound. So that way you get a nice clean reverb tail. So as you can tell, it's really very clean. I think it sounds excellent, to be honest. I think we might start tweaking this one. Let's see if we can tweak this one to get that sound to fit in better. So I want it quite washed back in the mix, and I think this reverb will be perfect for that. Let's have a play. We'll turn the decay up first. Damping to about halfway point. Give it some modulation. Some depth, I meant. Here we go. Rate we want to slow down. The ducking is already being activated. Let's reduce that a little bit though. Make it a bit quicker. Low frequencies we don't want. High frequencies we want a little bit. We don't want to boost, we want to cut. Maybe about 3 dB. Mix can come down a fraction, let's say 60%. Let's listen to how that sounds in context. Let's put the delays back on that we had earlier. And in context. So there you have it. I really think that fits that sound perfectly. I'm quite impressed. And for the price of currently $19, I think it's a bit of a bargain. I also think Cherry must be the hardest working guys out there. I think every month something new comes out from these guys. Very impressed with it, and I think you will be too. Thanks, and I'll see you next time. Bye bye.